All right, we're joined by Erin Blanchfield, who's coming off a big win. Erin, how's it going?
Doing great.
Obviously, big win over Miranda Maverick. Like, it was kind of a weird fight. Like, I was supposed to be Macy versus Montana, then it's you versus Macy, then you versus Miranda. Like, how different was that for training going from Macy to Miranda?
Honestly, it wasn't too different because they were both lefties. I feel like their strengths were different. Like Macy was more of a striker and Miranda was more of a grappler. But I'm really confident in my game all around. So I feel like there's maybe a few adjustments I had to make, but I always focus on myself more. So it wasn't too big of a deal.
And that walkout, what was that like? Because it's your second UFC fight, but that was the first one in front of in front of fans.
Yeah, that was really fun. I haven't fought in front of fans in like almost 2 years. So it was so nice feeling that energy and getting to see all the fans on the walkout and on the walk back to the after the fight.
You didn't really take much damage in there. Like, were you surprised by how much you were able to control Miranda like that quickly and that easy? Like, you got those takedowns. Like, thought you were gonna win, but I didn't think it was gonna be like that dominant.
Yeah, I'm not completely surprised. I thought she was going to maybe have a little bit more for me, especially because grappling was her strength. But once I felt that initial clinch, like off that first body lock that I had, I knew she had nothing for me for like the rest of the fight. So it didn't surprise me once I felt her strength.
Do you think the way you kind of look throws a lot of people off? Because Miranda's like all that muscular, like everyone kind of thought she would be the stronger fighter.
Yes, definitely. I know like all leading up to the fight, everyone's like, oh, her biggest, like everyone says she's so strong and like that's her biggest attribute, like, oh, how you'd be able to deal with that. And it's like, I know I don't look that impressive, but I know I'm a lot stronger than I look. So I'm never really worried about that going into fights. I think it's always kind of funny because I think people judge me based off what I look like, especially like in sports, like people look at that a lot. But they can feel that like strength when they're in there with me. So I think it's a little bit of a shock to them.
With Miranda, like this fight, I know you didn't get the finish. I know that's something you wanted, but like, are you pretty pleased with your performance, even though you didn't get the finish?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would have definitely preferred a finish, and there's maybe certain things I could have done to get that finish. But I'm pretty happy with my overall performance. I know I think I surprised a lot of people by beating her as dominantly as I did. So I'm pretty happy with it.
I know you didn't get ranked, but are you kind of still hoping a ranked person is next for you?
Yeah, I mean, I knew I was thinking I probably would have to get like a finish in this fight in order to get ranked, and I didn't. So I'm not too surprised I'm not ranked. But I definitely think I'll probably get a ranked person next. But I'm not really sure I'll fight next, so we'll see.
Are you hoping the Macy fight still happens? Because when you stepped in, like a lot of people were kind of confused just because like you two are kind of considered two of the more like promising prospects in the division.
I mean, I definitely wouldn't be opposed to it. Yeah, I got into like I wanted to fight before the end of the year, when her opponent fell out, I kind of like try to get myself in there. I'm happy that I did because I definitely wanted to get that fight in, and it was a great fight for me. Even though I didn't get to fight her, I fought Miranda. But I can definitely see me fighting Macy, maybe even my next fight, but definitely at some point because we're going to both be in this game for a while, so I can definitely see it happening.
Oh, you were the underdog in this fight. Like, did a lot of friends and family make money off you?
Yes, they did. It was kind of like a funny thing all leading up to the fight. A lot of people were like putting money on me because I kind of was flying under the radar leading into this fight. Nobody really knew who I was, and I think that's why I was the underdog. But if you bet on me, you definitely made some money.
Do you think this is the fight that kind of people are going to start to realize you, or do you think you still need maybe one more against like a more known name for you to kind of for people to really start to notice you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely helped me a bit, like because everyone kind of had like eyes on Miranda. They were thinking she was going to be like a champ down the road and stuff like that. So I think it definitely did help. I mean, I think beating someone with an even bigger name obviously is always going to help get your name out there more. But I think I'm definitely have made more of a splash with this fight than even my last fight.
When are you looking to get back in there? Because it doesn't even look like you got in a fight like less than a week ago.
Yeah, I mean, I want to enjoy Christmas and stuff like that, but definitely early 2022, I want to get back in there. I don't really have any serious injuries or anything. I'm a little banged up, but nothing serious. So I definitely want to get in there, but in early next year.
I know you work with Caitlin Chukagian a lot. Like, did you guys talk after the fight about how your fight went?
Yeah, I mean, we texted back and forth a little bit, but yeah, we've kind of been training partners for a long time. And she wasn't surprised either. We train together a lot, so she knows what my skill set is like and stuff. So yeah.
Is it surreal for you? Like, you're 22, like I'm 22 too, so like it's kind of crazy to think that like you're in the UFC already at like a young age. But is it crazy for you to think like you're already 2-0 in the UFC at 22?
For me, it really isn't because I've been doing this sport for so long. Like I started so young and I went pro when I was 18. So I kind of always, I know how many, like, what steps it takes to get to like this point. So I kind of saw myself going that way. So I feel like I kind of saw it before it even happened. So it's not like a big surprise to me. And I feel like that helps me stay like calm and stuff in my fights because I don't really feel like that pressure. Like I know I'm supposed to be there and I earned my way there. So it's not a big surprise to me.
I know a lot of people talk about like Octagon jitters. Like, did you kind of feel it more this fight just with like the crowd and like all that, or were you not really that nervous?
No, you know what? I wasn't really nervous at all. I feel like I was a little bit maybe more nervous for like the ceremonial weigh-in with all those crowd with the crowd and everything. But even that was it was super fun. But once I was like in that cage, I felt so comfortable. I felt at home and like yeah, it didn't bother me at all. It just felt like another like sparring session, to be honest.
What you make of fight week? Because like this fight week had to be totally different from your first one, just doing the ceremonial way and all the extra stuff, like with it being in Vegas in front of a crowd.
Yeah, it was definitely cool. I mean, I feel like during like the actual week, like maybe like that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it was similar. It was just you saw there was a lot bigger names on the card. So when I was working at the PI and stuff like that, there was a lot more people that I knew, like that I've watched, like even growing up and stuff, like fighters I seen. So that was super cool. And the ceremonial weigh-ins was super cool. This was the first time I even like met Dana or anything. So that was yeah, it was a really great experience. I'm really happy that I got onto that card, especially with all the great fights and everything that were on it.
Are you hoping next fight back on a pay-per-view? Because I feel like it's gonna be hard going back to the Apex in front of no one again.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope it is on a pay-per-view because, like you said, I think it would be kind of hard going back to the Apex. I mean, the nice thing about the Apex is that it's just so smooth and easy, and they usually do it a little earlier, so you're like done like nice and early. But having that crowd and seeing everybody is it's just so different. It makes it so much more memorable, and I really do hope I'm on a pay-per-view next time.
With the flyweight division, like obviously Valentina's kind of ran through a lot of it. So like how quickly do you think you are gonna get pushed? Because I've already seen like you with like Casey O'Neill, like they try to like even fans try to like rush you guys up right away because Valentina's running out of like people to fight at the top.
I think we'll probably take a little bit more time. I've only had the two fights and I haven't even fought anyone ranked yet. But I mean, I could see it me fighting a Valentina in like the next like 3 years or so. And I don't like I'm not too worried about it. And I know by the time I get there, I'll be ready for it.
Do you really see anyone at the top right now that can kind of beat Valentina?
Mm, I mean, obviously the fight's a fight and anything can happen. But the girls that are there right now, I don't really see any of them beating Valentina.
But on your card, like one of the biggest upsets, what you make of Pena beating Amanda Nunes?
That was pretty crazy. Like if you asked my opinion before that fight, I definitely would have went with Amanda. But I feel like it just shows what like kind of believing yourself and like believing in your training and everything does. Because Juliana like obviously thought she would win 100%, and she went out there and she did what she did, and she did win that belt. So I feel like she definitely made a big statement.
After the win, did you stay in the arena or did you like go celebrate with friends and family?
Yeah, well, they shipped me back to the hotel, so I went back to the hotel and then I celebrated with them, some family and friends afterwards.
Well, what was that like? Just kind of getting with them after a big win.
It was super cool because it's like the first time they've been able to come out in a while since before COVID, and obviously it was in Vegas and everything, so it was super fun. There's a lot of things to do, so it was a great experience.
Since you've signed at the UFC, I've seen a lot of people like say, "Oh, you should rematch Tracy just because that was your one loss," and like a lot of people thought you won. Like, is
Mhm.
that a fight down the line you want back, or do you not really care if you ever fight her again?
Personally, I don't really care if I ever fight her again. I mean, I definitely will, and I know I can beat her. But she hasn't really been fighting that much, and she was fighting at 35, and I know she was coming down at 25, but she missed. So like, I'm not gonna like chase her. You know what I mean? Like, if she was ranked ahead of me or something, I'll 100% fight her. But I'm not gonna like chase her.
When you first got to the UFC too, you signed at 35 to fight Norma. Like, is 35 still something you're not ruling out? Like, if a short notice fight comes up that you kind of like, or is it just 25 from here on out?
No, for here on out, it's going to be 25. I took that short notice to try to get into the UFC. And I feel like I could win that fight, but I definitely want to stay at 25. Like, this is my weight class, and this is where I know I can be a champ.
Just last thing, what are the next kind of couple weeks looking like for you?
I think like the next week or two, I'm just going to chill, like enjoy Christmas and my friends and family and stuff like that. And then starting the new year, I'll definitely think about who I'm going to be fighting next.
Well, Erin, I appreciate the time. Thanks so much for doing this.